Alright, let's discuss our third topic for this chapter, which is the piecewise defined function. So from the word piece, so we are going to subdivide this whole function into different formulas. So as per definition, a function is defined by different formulas in different parts of its domain is called a piecewise defined function. So dinidefine ng different formulas or different functions or different equations ang ating entire function for a certain set of domain. So, consider this function or graph of this line and a dot here. So, a point which is 1, 1. So, that is when x is equal to 1, the value of y is equal to 1. And then this line with a hole here, which means it is not defined at that particular value of x, or that particular domain x is equal to 1. So that if we try to use the vertical line test, 1 point lang ang magta-touch dun sa ating vertical line since hindi nga defined dito sa line na ito. And therefore, this is considered as a function. So how do we get the rule of this function? So paano kukunin ang rule of that function? Kukunin lang natin yung dalawang parts. So again, ang first part is this point and the second part is this point. So at this point, this line, I mean. So obviously, sa ating first piece, the value of y is equal to 1, which represents our function of x. At what particular value of x? At x is equal to 1. So therefore, f of x is equal to 1 for x is equal to 1 alone. For this line, meron tayong y-intercept at meron tayong x-intercept. So using intercept form, sa ating analytic geometry noon, we have x over a plus y over b is equal to 1. So substituting, x over negative 3 plus y over positive 3 is equal to 1. So remember, y is a function of x. Then multiplying both by negative 3, that becomes x minus y is equal to negative 3. So transposing that, y on the right and negative 3 on the left becomes x plus 3 is equal to y, which is actually our function of x, which means that's the function defined x plus 3 for any value of x except x is equal to 1. So meaning to say, we can find our rule for this graph as 1 for x is equal to 1, or if and only if the value of x is equal to 1 and x plus 3 elsewhere. So meaning to say, for any value of x except x is equal to 1. So this is the rule of the function. Let's have another example. Find the piecewise defined function of the given tax table. So we have had this in our first topic, which is how do we represent function. So kukunin lang natin yung equation na nagre-represent ng table na to. So, di ba, there are ways to represent function. One is through equation, which is algebraically. And the second, or yung ikalawa, or ito, gagamit tayo ng numerically, which is table. So, ita-transform natin yung numerical way into algebraic way. So, paano natin siya gagawin? So, isa-isahin natin siya. So, let S muna be the annual income in Philippine peso. So, F of S is the tax rate or yung babayarang tax for a given annual income. So, this table depicts the revised withholding income tax table effective 2018. So, this is subdivided. So, di ba from the word itself kanina, pag sinabi nating piecewise defined function, piece by piece, hinahati siya for a given interval ng domain. So, hati-hatiin daw natin siya into how many? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of functions. So, isa-isahin natin. So, first condition, for x is less than equal to 250,000. I did not put the unit na kasi nakalagay na dito generally that yung number natin dyan ay naka-refer sa Philippine peso. So, sabi dun sa first row ng table natin, wala daw tax na ibibigay for those Filipino earners na less than or equal to 250 ang annual income. So, meaning to say, pag ginawa natin siya ng f of s is equal to 0. No tax at all for income earners na 250 and below. Second, sabi ng second condition, for 250 to 400, greater than 250 up to 400. So, the salary income or annual income is greater than 250 but less than equal to 400,000. So, ano ang tax? Sabi ni table, 20% in excess of 250,000. So, meaning to say, whatever the annual salary minus 250,000, then multiply it by 20%. So, f of s is 20%, which is 0.2, multiplied by the quantity s minus 250,000. So, that is for this particular range of range ng domain or interval for that particular interval. So, third line, we have greater than 400,000 to 800,000. So, S is greater than 400, less than equal to 800,000. So, sabi dito, magbabayad ng 30,000 plus kung may excess pa sa 400,000, 25% noon nung excess. So, that is 30,000 plus 25%, which is 0.25 multiplied by the quantity S minus 400,000. So, yung excess, multiply natin sa 0.25 at i-add natin sa 30,000. So, for that particular given interval. So, para sa fourth condition, sa ating fourth line, so that's greater than 800 up to 2 million. Sana all. Sana all ganyan ang annual income. So, this is 400,000 greater than 400,000 but less than equal to 800,000. Ay, sorry. Nasa fourth condition na pala tayo. Na mangha ako dun sa 2 million na annual income. So, 800,000, S is greater than 800,000, less than equal to 2 million. So, sabi dito, 130,000 daw plus 30% in excess. So, that's 130,000 plus 0.3 multiplied by the quantity S minus 800,000, yung sobra, i-multiply sa 30%, and i-add natin sa 130,000. So, that particular interval. So, for the fifth condition, we have 2 million. S is greater than 2 million up to 8 million. Wow! So, we have 490,000, half a million, almost half a million na ang initial plus 32% in excess of 2 million. So, syempre, magsusubtract ulit tayo kung sa 2 million, kung sobra sa 2 million ang kinikita. So, 490 plus 0.32 times the quantity S minus 22 million. For the given interval, S is greater than 2 million, less than equal to 8 million. And then for the last one is above 8 million. So for S is greater than 8 million, we have 2.41 million plus 35% in excess over 8 million pesos. So S minus 8 million, yung kinikita minus 8 million times 35% of that plus 2.41 million pesos. So, pagsasama-samahin lang natin yung first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth condition, pieces, Pagkasama-samahin natin yung pieces na yan, makakabuo tayo ng isang buong equation na ganito. For f of s is equal to 0, for s is less than equal to 250,000. Second table says 0.2 or 20% of s minus 250 for s is greater than 250,000 less than equal to 400,000. So for third, 30,000 plus 25% of s minus 400,000 for s greater than 400,000 less than equal to 800,000. Para sa fourth, 130,000 plus 30% of s minus 800,000 for s is greater than 800 up to 2 million. Then for the fifth, 490,000 plus 32% of s minus 2 million for s is 2 million up to 8 million. Then lastly, we have 2,410,000 plus 35% of s minus 8 million for annual income greater than 8 million pesos. So this is the piecewise defined equation para sa ating revised withholding income tax table. So, for the last example, let us try to sketch the graph of this function. So, meron tayong 3 pieces. First piece is 3 halves t. Second piece is pi. And the last piece is 3 t minus 2 pi for a given interval. So, yung first interval natin from 0 up to 2/3. 0 up to 2/3. So, from 0 up to 2/3, 0 to 2/3 pi. So, iaano lang natin yung 3 halves of t. For t is 0, for t is 2/3 pi. Substituting, 3 halves times 0 is 0. That is, for t is 0. And the other one, 3 halves of 2/3 pi, for t is 2/3 pi, is equal to pi. Meaning to say, for t is 0, the value is 0. For x is 2/3 pi, the value is pi. So, since this is an equation of a line, so kasi meron tayong first degree, pagdidikitin lang natin yung 2 points, it forms a line. Then, for the second piece, it is always pi from this given interval. So, that's the graph of the second piece. And lastly, less than or greater than 4/3 pi to 2 pi. So again, this 3 times t minus 2 pi is a straight line. So kukuha lang ako ng point 4/3 pi and the other one is 2 pi. So substitute lang natin siya dito. 3 times 2 pi minus 2 pi is 0. So ibig sabihin, for 2 pi, that is 0. How about for 4/3 pi? So, substitute lang natin 3 times 4/3 pi minus 2 pi. So, this is 3. 4/3 minus 2 pi is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1 times 4 pi is 4 pi. 3 divided by 1 is 3 times negative 2 pi is negative 6 pi. Then 3 cancels out. Then we have 4 pi minus 2 pi is negative 4 pi minus 6 pi is negative 2 pi. So, ibig sabihin, for t is 4/3 pi, the value is negative 2 pi. So, negative 2 pi, that's roughly negative 6.28. So, if this is 1 kalahati, So, 1 kalahati. So, roughly nandito siya. And since excluded, maglalagay ako ng circle kasi excluded yung 4/3 pi. And then, I will just connect the two points, it forms a line. So, remember, since circle ito, kasi hindi siya included doon. So, that is the graph of the